What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. It's time to continue my 2023 college football schedule preview / projected records for the upcoming 2023 college football season. And we continue them with the USC Trojans. Here was the schedule last year for this USC team. You see the overall record for this team last year. 11-3 overall in 2022, 11-1 overall in the regular season. You look at who USC played in the non-conference. They played Rice, Fresno State, and they, of course, played Notre Dame at the end of the season. So, yeah, not too tough of a non-conference schedule last year. Of course, they had to play all those Pac-12 teams. You know, there was no divisions last year, but they didn't play all the Pac-12 teams, but they almost all did. So, yeah, the non-conference schedule, not too tough for them. But they did lose to Utah in the regular season. That was the only loss they had in the regular season from last year. And then, of course, they lost the Pac-12 championship and then the Cotton Bowl to Tulane. So they lost their last two games in the postseason. So, yeah, it was kind of an up and down year for this USC team, but they pretty much, this is a team that we did not expect to, win more than 10 games in 2022. Looking ahead now to 2023, they do return the reigning Heisman Trophy winner of Caleb Williams from last year, so definitely a lot of production that could come back on that offensive side of the ball. I am a little bit concerned about USC's defense coming into this season, but hopefully they get that thing turned around and USC could be a major threat heading into 2023. Let's look at the schedule now for 2023, and here is that schedule for USC. And you look at who they'll play in the non-conference. They'll play San Jose State on August the 26th, and then they'll play Nevada here on September the 2nd. And, of course, they'll play Notre Dame on the road. So, yeah, San Jose State and Nevada are kind of cupcake games. They're pretty, much some really good group of 5 teams, but they will play San Jose State and Nevada both at home. And then, of course, that Notre Dame game will be on the road, so that's going to be a tough place to play for this USC team. And all in all, the schedule kind of tough for this USC team. Of course, they still have to play those Pac-12 teams. But let's go game by game now. Again, there's no divisions in the Pac-12 once again this year. So you look at USC here. They'll kick off the season with San Jose State on August the 26th. This is also pretty much a home game for them. And then they'll play Nevada here on September the 2nd. So you got 2 non-conference games to kick off the year. Pretty much USC, I think, will be big favorites in both of those games against San Jose State and Nevada. And then they'll open up Pac-12 play against Stanford. They beat Stanford last year on the road, a Stanford team that wasn't good last year. And they'll have a new head coach this year. I'm not really high on Stanford, but, I really don't know what the rosters are going to look like just yet for all of these teams in all of college football. And USC will get their bye week rather early in the year. It comes after that Stanford game on September the 9th, so they get a bye week before playing Arizona State on the road, an Arizona State team that I don't know what's going to look like either. And then they'll play Colorado here on the road, so you got back-to-back road games here on the 23rd of September and the 30th of September, so you got back-to-back road games there. Colorado is a team that you don't want to play in November, so USC will get them in September, but Colorado is recruiting pretty well. This is a team that you kind of don't want to sleep on. I'm not saying they're going to be a really good team. I'm saying they're going to be probably just an average-type team. But, yeah, Deion Sanders really recruiting well down there at Colorado. Colorado definitely one of the worst Pac-12 teams from last year. Arizona State close to being the worst team from last year. But, obviously, this is just based off of the teams from last year as well. And then they'll play Arizona here on October the 7th. Then there's that game on the road at Notre Dame after that one. And this one will be played on October the 14th. So this won't be played in the last game of the regular season like it was last year. A Notre Dame team that has a lot of hype coming into 2023. Obviously, the transfer of Sam Hartman coming in has really helped them out. And the recruiting's going pretty well down there at Notre Dame for Marcus Freeman's squad. This should be a pretty good game. Obviously, it's a road game for USC, and it's going to be a tough test to play, and obviously a tough place to play for USC. And then there's that game against Utah here on October the 21st, a revenge game here for USC. Obviously, kind of like a back-to-back revenge game, perhaps, because they lost to them in the Pac-12 championship game as well. But it's about the regular season. It's not really about the postseason. It's way too early to talk about that as well. But USC, if they win this game, they could probably make it a run for the college football playoff. But, yeah, to play Utah after that Notre Dame game, it's pretty tough. It will be a tough stretch there, but the good news is they get Utah at home. And then there's that game on the road at Cal on October the 28th. California, I really don't know what they're going to look like, but you never really know about Cal. Sometimes they could pull off a huge upset, but USC, I think, will still be favorites heading into that game. And then they get to the month of November. Then they'll play Washington here, and then they'll play Oregon on the road. So you got back-to-back tough games here once again, but you get Washington at home. That's the good news. But you had to play Oregon on the road, and that's going to be a tough place to play. Of course, Bo Nix coming back for another year is a huge return for this Oregon team. So, yeah, it's going to be a back-and-forth contest. I'm looking forward to this game. It probably will be the Pac-12 game of the year, perhaps, besides Utah and USC. But other than that, I think this will be the game of the year in the Pac-12 coming into this season. And then they'll end things out here on November the 18th with UCLA. That's a rival game. You never know what can happen. Last year's game was just a shootout. I mean, USC did win at the end of the day, but it was just a back-and-forth game overall between both offensive teams. So, yeah, USC, the interesting thing about this schedule, they don't have to play on November the 25th. They'll get a bye week on that game on that week. And, yeah, they'll end their season here on November the 18th. Now, maybe that's just because of the August 26th kickoff here with San Jose State. So that's really an early kickoff there in, late August and everything. But the schedule overall really kind of not too bad. But, they do have to play Notre Dame out of the non-conference. And that game is on the road. So it's going to be a pretty tough place to play. And they also have to play Oregon and Utah still on the schedule. And obviously Washington will be a tough one. I know that's a home game, but it could be a really tough one. So now let's get to the projections here for this USC team. This is the scale I've been pretty much using throughout these projections. If it's a 1% game, these games are pretty much, USC has no shot at winning in any of them. You probably won't see any of those red games on here, neither the 20% games or the 40% games. 20%, though, is probably about a couple touchdowns. 40% is about a touchdown underdog. You won't probably see any of those red, orange, or yellow games on this schedule because we know USC is going to be favored in almost all their games they play on the schedule. 50-50 games, these will stay in the white. Pretty much games where I think they can go either way. 60% games, these will stay in the purple. These are games where USC is going to be favored by about a touchdown. 80% games, these are games where USC is going to be favored by a couple touchdowns at 80%. And then 90% games in the green, these are pretty much USC where is going to be favored by more than 3 touchdowns. So that's pretty much, the highest percentage on this projection list. And that's what we're going to start with. We're going to start with the green games here for USC, games where USC is going to be favored by more than 3 touchdowns, where they could score a lot of points. And I just got 2 of those games on the schedule. It's the 2 non-conference games to kick off the year. San Jose State on August the 26th, and then Nevada here on September the 2nd. Yet, these are 2 group of 5 teams, but I really don't see USC having any problems in both of these games. There's no business. They have no business to lose both of these games at home. So, yeah, USC, I think, will be big favorites heading into both of these games to start off the year. And USC is definitely a top 10 team, definitely heading into the 2023 season. There's no question about it. And then we now go to the games now in the blue, games where USC is going to be favored by about a couple touchdowns. And I got 5 of those games on the schedule. I got Stanford here at home, Arizona State on the road, Colorado on the road, Arizona at home, and then Cal on the road. Arizona State and Colorado, obviously, these are games where I could probably put in the green because they were both not good last year, but these are road games. I can't put it hardly in the green. And yeah, these are Pac-12 games. You just never know when it comes to the Pac-12. Obviously, the Pac-12 is pretty much hard to predict every single year, and upsets do happen in college football. Stanford, obviously, a rival game that can go either way. I know they beat them on the road last year. I probably should put it in the green, but I'm going to stick with it and put it in the blue. Arizona, I think they will be big favorites heading into this game, about a couple touchdowns. Arizona was a decent team last year, but they weren't really good enough to really improve me a little bit to make this pretty much a purple game. And then Cal here on the road. You never really know about Cal. Just like I said, they could probably pull off an upset sometime, but I think other than that, USC is going to be big-time favorites heading in on the road to face Cal on October the 28th. And these are the games where I think USC will be favored by more or about a couple touchdowns in the blue. We go to the games now where USC is going to be favored by about a touchdown, and that's the purple games right here at 60%. And I just got 2 of those games on the schedule. I got Washington here at home, and then UCLA here at home as well. Washington, I think, will be the toughest test here. Obviously, Washington bringing back their starting quarterback, and this probably could be a dangerous Washington team. Not a dangerous team, but maybe some kind of a really good team to look out for in the Pac-12. I know pretty much I probably could have put this one as a 50-50 game. I was close to putting it as a 50-50 game. I think with USC, though, at home, it's going to help them out. If this was a road game for USC, I would probably put it in the white, but I'm going to stick with it and put it in the purple. And obviously, UCLA was another game that I thought about putting in the blue, but it's a rival game. You never know what can happen. I'm just going to stick with it and put it in the purple. UCLA was a pretty good team last year, so I'm going to stick with it and put it in the purple. So it could change by that time. It could change to a 50-50 game by that time as we get into my predictions, which start in May. So, and then the rest of the games on the schedule here in the white, I don't see USC being an underdog in any of these games rest on the schedule. Notre Dame on the road, Utah at home, and then Oregon on the road. These three games are pretty much 50-50 games. These are obviously tough ones to call. Obviously, Notre Dame on the road is going to be a pretty tough matchup. Of course, Sam Hartman coming over. That's going to be a pretty tough matchup there on the road. Utah here at home, revenge game here for USC, but I think it's still a 50-50 game. I don't really see it being a purple game, to be honest, just because of how the matchups went last year. And Utah beat USC 2 times, not just in the regular season, but also in the Pac-12 championship. So that's definitely a 50-50 game. It can go back and forth. And Cam Rising coming back at quarterback is a huge difference. And then obviously that game on the road at Oregon will be a back-and-forth game. I'm expecting a high-scoring game in that one. Probably somewhere in the 40s perhaps, maybe the 30s. You never know. There was just a lot of scoring from last year's Pac-12 games, and I'm expecting a lot of scoring to be done once again this year in the Pac-12. So how many games do I see USC winning out of these three games that are 50-50 games? I really honestly only see USC winning one out of those three games on this schedule right here in the white. Now, they could probably lose to Notre Dame and probably beat Utah. I mean, the only chance I think they have winning out of those three games is probably Utah, because Notre Dame and Oregon are tough places to play. But no matter what, I think USC will still compete in both of those road games, but it's just going to be shootouts. It's going to really come down to shootouts. It's going to come down to both defenses, who has the better defense. And for Notre Dame and Oregon, they both have really good defensive teams. They just weren't there last year, but maybe they could be there this season. You never know, but maybe they could lose all three of those games. You never know, but I think they at least win one out of those three games on this schedule in the 50-50 games. So let's now get to the projection here. I want to make this clear. This is not my official prediction. This is simply a projection based on this schedule. And when you look at the games that USC is favored in, the games that are in the green, blue, and purple, the games that they're favored in, and also the games that are 50-50 games, the overall projected record for this USC team, like I said, I think they only win one out of those three games on this on the 50-50 games. The overall projected record for this USC team comes out to be 10-2 for 2023 for this USC team. Not an official prediction. I want to make this clear. This is simply a projection based on this schedule. And like I said, I think they at least maybe lose one or two games perhaps on this schedule. But like I said, I think they only win one out of those three games on the schedule. Either it's Utah, maybe Notre Dame, maybe Oregon. They could probably lose all three of them. I think worst case scenario for this team would be 9-3. I mean, it would be kind of disappointing after an 11-3 season from a year ago, or maybe 11-1 regular season from last year. So yeah, it would be kind of disappointing if this USC team went 9-3. Best case scenario I would probably put out there is 11-1. Maybe they win one of those road games. Maybe it's Notre Dame on the road. Maybe it's Oregon on the road. You never know. But like I said, I think they're going to win one out of those three games. I'm not saying it's my prediction, though. Perhaps it will change, though. And like I said, we're going to do my predictions in May. So that's my overall projected record for this USC team, 10-2 for 2023. And again, we'll continue to do more projections throughout this week. And keep subscribing to this channel if you love the sports content and, of course, the projected record content as well. And stay tuned here for more sports content on the Lucas Ross Sports Channel.